Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. In this class, I will spend some time and do a quick review about the C programming language. Basically, what we will need in our experiments. Because some students only learn the C programming language, and it's about a little bit noisy here because there's a big theater right next to my home, and they always playing music, and it's pretty loud. I've already closed all the windows, but there might be some noise you can hear, so please just ignore it. Okay, and when we start the experiment, and many students, like including Chinese students, will ask me some questions about the code on the textbook. For example, the one code sentence in our textbook, that's figure 3.13. It looks like this. Temp cell equal to mlog size of structure node. That's on page, let me see. It's on page, oh sorry. And that's on page 49. Let me see. Yeah, page 14. Oh, but the book in my hand is another version from a Chinese press. Maybe the page is not exactly same as your page. So just say the figure number, figure 3.13. That should be the same. So we got a sentence like this. It's about the malloc. And if you change it to another textbook, for example, the textbook for the Chinese students about the data structure, the sentence becomes this: the L point element equals to the element type, the star, then malloc, then the least initialized size, and this do the multiply the size of element type. It becomes not. It's become different, and probably in another textbook or some other example on the internet, the mloc will become another way again. It's like the structure node, head node equals to structure node the star, and malloc the size of blah blah. So what I want to tell is the many people even doubt about that, whether this is written by the C programming language or it's another kind of language, and I have no idea whether you have learned this malloc sentence. So why do you feel like pretty noisy to read this different about the same order malloc? I think because most people treat it like a mathematical language. Okay, to treat this just like a symbol. So you try to just remember it, that will be pretty hard for you. My suggestion is you treat this like a language. Actually, it's a language between you and the computer. For example, the mloc. Okay, we will need a whole page to do that. For example, about the mloc. Malloc. Actually, someone read it like a malloc, but I prefer it to allocate. So actually, it means the memory memory allocate or allocation, memory allocation. Then what's this order mean? Actually, it's a dialogue. You can think it's a dialogue between you and the computer. Basically, this order is you ask the computer to let the computer give you more memory space. You ask the computer to give you more space. That is the order malloc. So it's like a dialogue. You can understand it easily. So that is the malloc 4 or malloc 4. Then the computer will answer you right now. Then the computer will answer you. Then the parentheses actually is the computer's answer. And what the computer say? What the computer say is, okay, but you need to tell me how large space do you need? And what's inside the parentheses? It's the size. It's the size. If you can write it down a number or a digit. If you write down 4, then the computer will search the whole memory. He will find a 4 byte space for you. 4 byte space, and you can write it like if you need more space, you can write maybe 64. Then the computer will find wherever is a space, wherever there's a free space, that is 34 bytes large, and give back to you. So the parentheses and is actually the computer to asking you how large do you need. Then you answer it like the how large do you need. But most of the time, like you don't, we don't know how large we need. We don't know how large we need. Then if you worry about it, then the computer answer you again. That doesn't matter. I can calculate for you. The computer can calculate the space for you. So that became a so here's now the size of means the computer to calculate how large do you need. The size of it may look like a function, right? Size of it may look like a function to many of students because it looks like a function, but actually it's a operator. It's an operator. Why I call it operator? It means that it's similar as the plus, minus, or multiply or divide. It's the same as this multiply. And what's its calculate? It's calculate the size of this part behind behind the size of in this parentheses. So you can many of the time you don't know how large space you need, then you can just write down the type here and tell the computer to calculate. So you can change the order like this: mlog, size of, and the int. So how large is int in the program? Say, do you still remember about that? That should be 4 bytes. Okay, so the computer will calculate for you. Then the computer know he will provide you a 4 byte space. So that is a size of what size of mean. And most of the time you will ask the computer, I still need more space. I don't, the just one int or only a 4 byte space is not enough for me, for you. Then you ask computer, we need more space. Then how to do that? You can just use the you can just tell the computer. You can how to say, the computer will ask you, just tell me how many do you need. Okay, tell me how many do you need, how many. So you can use the multiply. You can just use the number, for example 80, multiply the size of int, and that's some mlog. So that is, you tell the computer that the one I need like 80 of what, the size of 8. Then this part you should know is 4 bytes, and totally the computer will give you 320 bytes space. Okay, give you 320 bytes space. But that space is the large one piece space. That's 320 byte space. Then sometimes you need to divide this larger space into small one. Then you can storage more data. So how to divide this whole piece for small part? Then you can just tell the computer. Okay, you can just tell the computer. Oh, I just missed all this. You can just tell the computer before the mlog. You just for example, you need each space is 4 bytes. Then you just write it down. It's an int size, int type. Then mlog. Type it again. 80 plus multiply size of int. Okay, if you need to divide the whole area into small pieces, you can just tell the computer. You can change this part, the beginning. You can change it to char. So each small place would be like 1 byte. You can change it to you can change it to, I think, let me think. You can change it to double. That's fine. Okay. So the whole order about the memory of allocate. So actually, it's a dialogue between you and the computer. Okay. When you get that, no matter what it will be look like the last slide about, it's same about the M-log size order. So this part, you ask the computer to provide you 320 bytes space, and how many small, it's a whole space in the memory. Then how many do you need to divide it? Is by yourself. You just tell the computer if the each of the small grid, if this is 4 bytes, then it will give you like 80 this kind of space. Okay, if it's double, then it will 320, and by 8 it will give you 40 small spaces in the memory. Okay, so that's why there's some kind of operate like this multiply inside of the M-log, and what the size of is actually another kind of operator. It's same as plus, subtract, and so the key point about this example M-log is trying to tell you to understand the C as a language. Okay, basically it's why we call it language. So it's same as we talking to each other, or you talking to your classmates or your family. It's a language. The programming language is just you talk to the computer, and the computer is answering you. Okay, so do not treat it as the mathematical symbols. If you treat it as a mathematical symbols, you will spend a lot of time to try to memorize each example. Then we're pretty tired and feel annoying. Okay, so it's like you are, for example, you are learning the Chinese. You are learning some sentence patterns. For example, say we are going to do something. In Chinese, it's like 我们一起去干什么什么事. Now you can do a lot of things use the same patterns. You can ask your classmates to play football, play soccer, to play basketball, to watch a movie, to go and get some barbecue, or to go to get some hot pot. Do you know hot pot in Chinese? 火锅. The Chinese students likes hot pot. So you know this kind of basic sentence pattern, then you can do a lot of things. And the programming language is the same. For example, you know what exactly the M-log is doing. Basically, you just you talking to the computer, you need more space. Okay, so what behind the M-log is how large do you need? You tell the computer. And if you do not sure it's the right time, you just ask the computer to calculate the space for you, so that's size of, and they give you the whole piece of memory. This part give you a whole piece. Then you need to divide it into small pieces. then how to divide to how many is your decision. So just ask the computer to divide how large is each piece, small pieces. Then so you will have these small pieces of memories for your storage. Okay, so that's about the M block order. I don't know whether have you learned this M block in your C classes. Mm, for the Chinese students, some of the will have learned. That depends on which teacher's class where they attend. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about your situation, and I use this example for you to tell you. Maybe from my view, how to understand the language in an easier way. Okay, it's a dialogue. Actually, it's a dialogue. Okay, next slide would be some basic knowledges about the C. One is about the variables. So data stored in object. That's a pretty large concept. It's actually a space of memory that have data that can call object. In C or C++, in C, only in C, that's not talked a lot, but in the object orients, that's where this concept were used a lot, and the named objects were called variables. And if the variables, you need some type, like the int, like the double, like the long. Okay, and it's a little bit tricky then about the Chinese textbook about the C language, because of the translation. Like every of this kind of concept will translate to so many different versions. Like different textbook use different name, and the different teacher use different name. So the Chinese students is also about a headache and troublemaker about the language course, the C language course, partly because it's the translation. So when I look back to the English version, because like all this knowledge should be translated from English to other languages. So if you don't sure about this in your language or in other languages, try to look back to take a look at the what's the English words. That'd be more clear for you. That's about the variable. Okay, and about the names. Actually, the name is for us, for you. The computer does not concern about the name. He tried to find the variables by their address. Okay, so the name is for us, for we to more convenient to operate, and we can use the letters, the digits, and the underscore, or we can call it underline to name the variables, but don't start with the underline. Okay, don't start with the underline, and we will tell the difference between the capital letter. So rice noodle, the capital with the R is not same as the rice noodle. Okay, and don't use some certain words like if, else, int, long, because that's left for the system. That shouldn't be hard for you. That's about names. And next about types. I didn't type all of them, just part of them. This part is not hard. For example, char for character and int for the integrity. We have flow, double, a long for long int, some kind like that. Okay. And for the variables, you need to declaration and initialization before use them. Some students may find that's easy, but you will find how quickly you will get in trouble if you didn't pay attention. Okay. For example, I'll give you an example. Okay, we can open to type a short code int. Basically, I will create two variables like apples and oranges, yngs. Okay, and just type them, print them out. And just print out. If you need to print out, then you need the headline. Okay. Do you still remember this? This include standard in out. What does studio refer to? Do you still remember that? That's not the word studio. That's std means stand. Okay, and then I means the input and O means the output. That means the standard input and output. And the H means the head. All these things were saved in a head file. Okay. Then I declared two int type variables. One's apples, one's oranges, and I just try to print them out. Okay, print apples equals to and oranges equals to apples. This should be comma. Oranges. Okay, let's try to run it and see what's going on. See, we'll show up unpredictable answer. I didn't do anything about or definition about the apples and oranges. Even show an unpredictable answer. He didn't just show warning. Maybe sometimes even didn't show the warning. Depends the compiler, what compiler are you using. But it will the results would be an unpredictable one. So for the variables, the most two important things about the variables is one's declaration. So just int apples, but you need the initialization too, because if you just make the declaration, the computer will just create a space for you, but what inside the space we don't know. Maybe some data left behind, left by other operators of the computer, so we don't know. So this part is this the we really easy to forget about this part about the initialization. So we need to tell the computer what's the number of the about these variables. So if I type the apples equals 5 and oranges equals to 10, or it's still running, then it should be the expecting answers. Apples equals 5 and oranges equals 10. We can still initialize one variables by another, because for example, like int oranges equals to apples, and apples equals 10. We can do the initializing while you do the declaration, or we can do it after that. That's both fine. So we run it again. Now apple became the 10 and the orange became 5. So that's the let's say about the declaration and the initialization. Okay, declaration and initialization. So, and another thing is about the let me see, the loop. You should have learned the for loop and a while loop. Okay, so do you know the difference between them? While loop, actually they can change to each other. Like a for loop can change to the while loop, and a while loop can change to a for loop. But for most beginners, if you know how many time you need to execute the loop body, it will be easier to choose the for statement. For example, like this, the for statement contains 3 parts. The first one is the first expression. Okay, so I equals 0, I minus c minus n, then what is I plus plus, we can do the body, just simplest one, just print out something. Maybe print out just hello. That's the basic structure about the for loop. So it contains 3 parts. The first part is about the first expression, so that I equals 0. And the second part is about the conditional. If it's in this condition, and it will be execute the loop body. We call it loop body. Then we call this the loop expression. It will come back to do the I plus 1. Okay, then the advantage about the for loop to the while loop is the you can write down the numbers or how many times you can write down how many times the loop body need to execute. So for this example, how many times this code printf to execute, how many times? Think about it. So this start from 0, right? We can see it, then plus 1, then plus 1, until what? It will come out from the loop until it's not satisfied with this statement, right? So point to n plus 1, that's still minus less than n. So that's still we're still printed f. But when it comes to n is not less than n. So we will stop the loop. So this loop body will execute from 0 to n minus 1, so that is n times. Okay, n times. And how many times this sentence will execute? If you do not like this way from the 0, you can just change the code to I start with 1 and I less than equal to n and I plus plus. Then this loop will start from 1 to n. That will be similar to our real life, because in real life we usually can't start with 1. Okay, but if you need to operate on the array index, the array index will start from the 0. So sometimes you need to set the first expression start with the 0. Okay, that's about a for loop. Why is the same? You can change your for loop to a while loop. But for beginner, as I said before, if you know how many times you want to do the loop, then it's easier to write it by using the for loop. Okay, and I'll try to give you another. We will try to give you an example about the small question. Let me think what to write. We just write a small program to calculate the 1 plus 2 plus until 100. Okay, to see how we're done by the for loop. Once I asked the Chinese student to do this small program, you guess what they will do? They will just show me this way. They will just use printf. Then they know the results. They just print out 5050. Okay, I don't know what to say about that. They just print. They don't know how to use the loop, a for loop or while loop. You just print out the result. Okay, Uh, you should write this kind of short program very quickly by yourself. Okay, for example, we need the int I for the loop, and another one sum. We can call it sum for the result. Okay, then the next would be the for loop. Okay, and the I will start from 1, and if I is less and equal to 100, then we will do sum equals to sum plus I. Okay, is that right? Okay, then the loop expression would be I plus plus. Okay, then print out the result. Just print out the sum equals to sum. Okay, let's just run it, see what's going on. See, the result is not the 50-50. So we do the loop from 1 to 100. I left an error actually inside this coding. What's the error I've made in this? Again, it's the same. We have used the variable sum, right? We just made the declaration in this line. It's an int I and sum means we made the declaration, but we did not do the initialization. Do the initialization, and the I is fine because we write down the I equals 1 here. We do the initialization here, but the sum we don't know. Like we say, if you just make the declaration, this computer will basically find a space for you. Okay, find a space for you. And what exactly inside this space we don't know. So we need to actually to initialize it equals sum equals to 0 at first. Okay, so if we run it now, probably no problem. So it's the result is right now sum equals to 50-50, 1 plus 2 plus until 100. Okay, so this example is show you the basic for loop. You can change it to while loop. It's the same actually, but if you know the times, how many times you need to execute the loop body, the for loop will maybe easier for you. Okay, and one thing is again about the declaration and the initialization. Okay, that's the loop, about the loop. And for this kind of small program, some students still feel pretty difficult to write about. They will show up many kind of warnings or errors. That's basically just lack of practice. Okay, the coding is like you driving a car or playing an instrument or riding a bicycle. You can just learn it by thinking. Okay, you need to practice, like a piano. You know which sound, which key will make, but you can't make it music. You need to practice a lot, and the coding is the same way. Okay, and time is already for one class, but I will still spend some time on the if statements. That's about the condition and about the selection. Okay, that is pretty simple. Okay. Okay. Then if parentheses, then in the parentheses is about the condition. If the in this condition, then they were to execute the statement below, and we can use the else to combine with the if. For example, like if your score is larger and equal to 60, and it will pass. Okay, just print out. Just print you will pass. You pass the course data structure. Okay, the else we can use else, or this is just two conditions. And else if that means if the score is minus, if the score is let's see, if the score is minus than 60. I didn't type the printout. Okay, then you filled maybe the system where should you're unbelievable loser. Okay, that is try to tell you actually this course is not that hard. Okay, like I told you today in the first slide about the how to learn this programming C language in my way. So if you know how to learn it and try to spend some time, any course won't be hard for you. Okay, just try to spend your time, and you need to practice. Okay, you will pass all the course, including the structure. Okay.